Here's some back training that I did earlier today. I usually like to start my back workouts with these hammer strength pull downs unilaterally, and I've seen some dudes throw some real weight on these, but I find that if you're doing them properly with your chest to the pad and you're really pulling with the elbow into the lat, it's very hard to go heavy, especially because it's the way, the weight, as the weight flips up, becomes harder and harder as you pull into the lat. But I started with the left arm today. Normally I'll start with the right, but last time I tried it with this weight, I got 2 reps shorter on the left arm, and I wanted to make sure that I got 10 here because I won't count it as a PR on unilateral movements until my reps match. So yeah, I see pulling into that, it's hard. But got it pretty good. And then as I moved to the right arm, I noticed, and even though my right arm is stronger than my left, at least I believe it is, going to the right the second, I felt weaker. So I guess the fact that I started left was a good thing, because I don't know if I would have been able to get 10 on the left had I started with the right. I don't know why that is. Maybe you're just tired from the set and the opposite arm, even though it's not working, is doing some sort of work with stabilizing and probably not having your breath fully. I usually like to take a little bit of time between sets. Yeah, trying to adjust that strap. A lot of times you end up doing that because your lats are burning so much. It's almost like cheating, just trying to get an extra second of rest. But yeah, pulling that deep, trying to stretch it at the top, and yeah. So that's hard to get short, but I counted that as a PR at that weight, so 10 reps on each side. Now this is good. This is a neutral grip Cybex row, and I believe this was 230 for 8. And I'm trying to push into the pad as I'm pulling back, so it's like as I'm pulling back, I'm pushing forward at the same time, really trying to get those elbows deep, and that becomes very hard also with any of these machines. But you go slow and controlled and squeeze it, and if you have to get a little bit sloppy at the end, I'm not gonna worry about it too much. Now these are some underhand hammer strength rows, PR this weight also. I would rather have an overhand row, but my gym doesn't have one, so these underhand ones, these feel okay. It's hard to stretch because of the length of the arm, I guess, but you get a little bit of a stretch, and you're really trying to focus on pulling it back deep as you can. Now these are new. I've done these before, but I'm just throwing them back in the rotation. These are lat pull-ins, and I first saw these, I think it was Doug Brignoli talking about them, and he talks about how, in his opinion, you want to pull, in order to work a muscle, you want to try and pull in the direction of the fibers. So if you look at the lat muscle, the fibers kind of run sort of in the position I'm at with this cable. It's kind of in front of me, and I'm pulling up down towards the hip. Now you'll notice that I'm not really stretching at the top. I'm trying to not emphasize that stretch, because as you do that, at least according to Paul Carter, who I watch on his Instagram a lot, he talks about proper lat training. You won't want to arch your back. You want to try to keep your abs flexed and your back more neutral. You want to pull into that hip. You don't really want to pull beyond your body. You want to pull kind of into the body, and you don't necessarily want to let your back stretch at the top, even if you think you're working your lats. According to him, the lats actually end up turning off a bit. So I'm trying to do this purely for the lats, and it's kind of it's not a heavy movement. You want to go slow and controlled and try to really feel that squeeze, pull that into the lower lat region. It's kind of a better view actually right here. There's no PR to do here because these are being thrown back into the rotation. So I think these were 100 pounds each side, and I think I got 15 out of them, and it feels pretty good. Obviously this isn't something you would throw really in the start. This is more towards the end. I wouldn't do this as a first or second movement probably. There's more stuff to be, there's more meat and potato exercises to do, but this is a pretty good finisher. You might want to start with it as like a warm-up, maybe even lighter weight, to be able to feel your lat working, because as you pull in with that elbow, you're kind of crunching down on it also, and that feels really good. And you can really feel that lat. The lat almost runs into itself or the body, and it's just a unique feeling. If you haven't tried it, do it. Yeah, so try to like set up on a stool and position the cable slightly in front of you and focus on pulling into that hip. And I always like to do these as a finisher. This is another, if you saw my video I did recently on shoulders and triceps, I was using this Y strap for face pulls, and I love to use this for these kneeling pull downs on the cable. I'll actually set the strap up. I won't even hold on to it. I'll set it on my wrist, and you can't really tell, but I'll set it on my wrist. That way I'm not holding on, and I'm pulling almost purely with my elbows, trying to stretch at the top and get the elbows deep as I come down. And this is one of those weird movements where if I try to do the full stack, it's almost too close to my body weight and it starts throwing me off. But if I go to like 130, I can do not easy, but I can do upwards of 15 reps relatively easy. Whereas if I even go 20 pounds heavier, it's almost too heavy to where I need to throw weight on myself to stabilize it. Which kind of sucks because I know I'm leaving weight on the table that way. But this was a PR, 130 for 21 reps. So the best I had done this previously was 20. And this gets hard to get as you pull in. Yeah, your lats start to get real tired, but it's a really good movement. I kind of clasp my hands here towards the end just to kind of cheat it a little bit. Not really cheat it, but just get better contraction. And I finished off with these high pulls on the hammer strength shrug. Now normally I'll set up in this position and I'll just shrug it, but I decided to pull it higher in the high pull position. So another sort of variation I'm throwing in, and these felt pretty good. I think I got 10 good ones here with 4 plates aside, and then I kind of pumped out a few extra. Now I have to be careful with these because my back is not really great. So getting into position and feeling that stretch, you have to be real careful because I don't want to throw too much body English into it, because if I do, it's gonna hurt. But yeah, just finishing out this set. Thanks for watching. Come back later.